welcome to the Little Blue Pot. It's Jem here, hope you're well. Thank you for joining me. This video is all about anxiety. It is anxiety part 1. What is anxiety? So what is anxiety? It makes us feel worried, it makes us feel panicked, stressed, tense, on edge, irritable. Not a nice place to be. But why do we feel anxious? What is the need for this anxiety? Because it can be very debilitating when you have this mental illness, and it has both effects on the brain and the body, and it can make us quite ill. So why do we feel anxious? We feel anxious. It's a normal response. It keeps us safe. It keeps us aware of what fears are around us and helps us to, assess those fears and see if they are of a genuine threat. But why do we have this? Well, this comes from when we were cave people, when we were developing as human beings, and we needed this response to help to protect us from, say, a woolly mammoth at the door. And we need that to, so we know where we are, we know how to assess that and say, hey, I need to either deal with that woolly mammoth, run away from it, etc. So when we have anxiety and we experience these responses of, lots of adrenaline coming through, and, we had that because we needed it that back then. But nowadays we don't really have to assess for woolly mammoths at the door or things that are going to kill us, because we're not living in that world anymore. However, we are still living in a world where there's lots of stress, and it's not woolly mammoths, it's deadlines, it's working too hard, it's working like 17-hour days, it's doing shift work, it's anything that is going to put some sort of stress or strain on your body, which will then make you anxious. Now again, it's annoying that we have this fear, but we do need it. So I hope that explains why we feel the anxiety and what it means for us when we feel it. I'm not sure if it did. So 3 million people in the UK are suffering from anxiety right this second. I am one of them, although my anxiety today is pretty non-existent, which is great. I do have my niece. She suffers from generalised anxiety disorder, and she's actually got a blog called Charlotte Writes. You can find that via my Facebook, etc. So I'm saying I'm a lot today, but we're just working through. So I've explained why we have anxiety and what it does, but I want to talk about anxiety and the brain. I'm talking about from my brain book. It's not here today, but this is from the brain book. And let's talk about the stress response in the brain. So first of all, the parts of the brain that are affected when you have anxiety are called the hypothalamus and the anterior pituitary gland. What is the hypothalamus? The hypothalamus performs specific functions including controlling our body temperature, looking down again, just reading it out to you, controlling our body temperature, feeding and drinking behaviours, water balance, hormonal levels, and sleep-wake cycles. So these functions are essential to living. Essential to making our bodies perform and work. So if there is a slight damage to the hypothalamus, then this will have dramatic effects on our behaviours. So for example, if you do have anxiety, then you may have an overacting ignore that. So the hypothalamus is regarded as the major coordinating centre for our body, and it links to the nervous system and to the pituitary gland. Okay, so what is the pituitary gland? Well, glands are all around our body, and they release different hormones. The gland for the hypothalamus is a nucleus that produces hormones. Now, what are hormones? So hormones create different responses in our bodies. Now, there's a wonderful hormone called oxytocin. This is a bonding hormone. This is something that you would feel when you hug someone, when a mother breastfeeds her baby, when you have that sort of skin-to-skin contact with your child or your lover, or even through sex. You can get this wonderful hormone called oxytocin, which is just one of the areas that the pituitary gland and the nervous system work together. That's a lovely hormone, but however, when you are feeling stressed, other hormones are released, and these come through the pituitary gland, and the pituitary gland then produces a hormone called adrenocorticotropic, or ACTH. That's adrenocorticotropic. This stimulates the production of adrenaline and cortisol. We all know what adrenaline is. Adrenaline will keep us alert, will keep us full of energy and full of, when we, if we've got that adrenaline and we're in a dangerous situation, people say that you'll be stronger, that you'll be able to run further, run faster, because you have it, excuse me, pumping through your veins. Cortisol is another stress hormone, and too much of this is it can be really bad for you. Over time you can get a build up of this, and it can sort of stay on your stomach, make you put weight on, and you can get sort of problems with your immune system as well. So pretty important when we have this stress response. And like I said, we don't really need this stress response as much as we did when we were fighting woolly mammoths in the morning in our caves, but because of the way society is now, it is very much stress. Everything is faster, everything is quicker, everything takes longer. Sorry, that's not what I meant to say. Everything is fast paced, so you're working to try and keep up with everyone else, and it's very, very draining and very, very hard work. So you are likely to develop anxiety if you're constantly surrounded by all this stress. So I hope that's explained anxiety. I hope it's also explained why we feel anxiety, and explained the anxiety and the stress response on the brain. So that's kind of anxiety. Kind of. I'm now going to go through the DSM-5 for general anxiety disorder to help you if you are experiencing any symptoms, just to identify them. So let's go for this. So this is the Diagnostic Statistical Manual version 5 for general anxiety disorder, or anxiety. I will read them out again. So this is taken from the manual. The presence of excessive anxiety and worry about a variety of topics, events or activities. Worries occur more often than not, and usually for more than 6 months. So again, you may have a week where you've got a lot of important deadlines and you might be feeling a bit stressed, but by the end of that week, when you've done those things, your levels go back down and you're genuinely kind of okay and in okay health, not worrying. But if you have anxiety, generalized anxiety disorder, you will be feeling excessive amounts of worry, even when there isn't really anything going on, so no deadlines or no stress. You'll be finding other things to worry about. Very frustrating, but you just find something else. If oh, I'm feeling quite relaxed, oh, there must be something else I can worry about. It's almost like that sometimes, and it's not because you're doing it on purpose. We've talked about the brain is producing, the glands are producing these hormones that make us on edge, make us agitated. So excessive worry. So number 2, excessive worrying even if there is nothing wrong. Spending most of your time worrying and seeking reassurance. So excessive, and I mean excessive, not just worrying for a couple of days about 1 or 2 different things. It's excessive worry about every little thing. Draining, very hard to live with, very hard for carers and families to support you, because it may appear that you're being completely irrational, but fear is not necessarily a rational emotion. So we'll delve deeper into that at another time. Worrying is challenging and hard to control, so it might happen when you least expect it. It might happen when you're planning to have a nice afternoon with your family and your in-laws, and then the anxiety will hit in and it might start to change your behaviour. Very, very annoying, very frustrating, and very hard for everyone involved. Worrying may shift from one topic to another. I've kind of talked about that, but yeah, you will kind of, when you've run out of one idea to worry about, there'll be something else. So let me just go through the 6 symptoms now, and in order to have a diagnosis of anxiety, you need to have at least 3 of the following symptoms. So these are up to 6. Okay, 1, edginess and restlessness. Well, that's guaranteed, isn't it? If you've got adrenaline going through you, cortisol going through you, not any of the nice hormones like oxytocin, you've got, your edginess and restless. So you might be sitting there tapping, you might be kind of clicking, and you might look like you're just completely on the edge of your seat, and I look like I'm doing some weird dance. So that's another area. And because of that, number 2, you will be tiring more easily and feel more fatigued. If your brain is working all that, doing all of that thing, all your, your hormones are pumping around your body, your body's going to be kind of like, I can't cope with this. So on top of the, feeling really full of adrenaline, you then will have episodes of fatigue and tiredness. Number 3, impaired concentration, or feeling as though the mind has gone blank. This is quite similar to what I discussed in Depression Part 1, that yes, your concentration levels will be impaired because there's so much going on in your body. And one of the things I didn't actually say is that, actually no, I'll talk about that when we talk about physical effects of anxiety. So impaired concentration, the mind goes blank, and it will. I remember working, and you would be worrying about something else, and then someone would ask you something, and you'd be kind of like, I know the answer to this, but it's not accessible to me right now, and that will make you look like an idiot at work, which it did to me. Or an idiot's not that you are an idiot, you're not an idiot, but it will make you feel a bit, what's wrong with me? Why can't I remember these things? But it's not surprising. Too much going on. Irritability, this says it may or may not be observed by others. My irritability may be seen by the people I'm very, 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 very close to, people I live with, my mum and my boyfriend, Andy. They will see my irritability, whereas people maybe who are not as close, that I don't see every day, they probably won't see it, and they probably might even go, you irritable? Never. Believe me, I can be. Increased muscle aches or soreness, we've talked about this, the constant tensing of the body, the feeling of anxiety will make your shoulders shoot up to your ears, and then you'll be like this all the time, just like, oh my god, I'm worried. And now, you can just feel the difference if you just push those shoulders down and relax. So, and because of the tensing, you will probably get aches and pains. Difficulty sleeping is number 6. Trouble falling asleep because your brain's working too much, and you've got adrenaline pumping through your body, and trying to sleep when you've got adrenaline pumping through your body is pretty impossible. So those are the main, that is the DSM-5 for generalized anxiety disorder. Now if you've been feeling any of those for more than, it says 6 months here, but I mean you could have been feeling them for like 3 or 4 months by now, and it doesn't show signs of stopping, go and get help. Go and talk to someone and find out more about it. Try and understand more about anxiety. Find out more about the brain. Like I say, I'm still learning about the brain, so apologise to those who really know about the brain, and I may be sounding a bit stupid, but I'm doing my best. So, I just want to then talk about, she says, trying to find her piece of paper. Finally, I want to talk about the physical effects of anxiety, because everyone says mental illness, it's mental illness. It's not physical. It is physical, because what's going on in your brain has an immediate effect on what is happening in your body. So let's talk about this. So if you've got adrenaline and cortisol pumping through you, you are going to be hyper alert and probably irritable, because it's just so much, so much. And also dizziness is a physical. I know when my mum has had periods of stress in the past, she has become very dizzy, and I've experienced this a couple of times myself, and it is very, very unnerving, especially when you're feeling hyper alert and very irritable at the same time. Now the next couple, because a lot of people have said, let's talk about panic attacks, for example. Panic attacks are, I'll lead on to those in a minute, but sometimes people feel like they're having a heart attack. So because you have rapid breathing, you can be breathless, really breathless, you can have heart palpitations and chest pain when you have anxiety. This usually is around a panic attack, but I think some people, if they have compounding amounts of stress which will lead to anxiety development, you're going to be kind of tensing, and again all the hormones pumping through you. So it's really, really quite a challenging place when you have anxiety physically as well. Increased blood pressure, abdominal discomfort. Now there's something when you suffer from anxiety, when you have a panic attack, or even when you have an extreme sort of low mood, your digestive system shuts down. I don't know if you knew that. And when I mean shut down, it just stops working, it stops processing, it stops doing that function, because it's very much concerned with the threat, either a real or imagined threat. So when you're experiencing that panic, the stomach just stops working, the digestive system stops working. So this over time will have a huge amount of effect on your belly, your tummy. Cortisol, actually, too much cortisol released will actually cause you to gain weight on the stomach, and I've always had a bit of weight around the tummy, and it's probably because of the years and years of stress on the body. Sweating and chills throughout the body, again, this is if with too much adrenaline, you are going to get a bit sweaty, you are going to feel a bit poorly, and increased muscle tension and trembling. Now that's information is from the Brain Book again. So going from there to panic attacks. Panic attacks are almost the physical manifestation of too much anxiety on the body. For those of you who haven't had a panic attack, they almost feel like you're having a heart attack. A lot of people do get their panic attacks confused with heart attacks, but on the whole, it isn't. Nothing is going on with your heart. It is a huge influx of adrenaline and cortisol. So this will keep you like this, shaking, panicking. You might be holding onto your chest, really like deep. You might be crying as well. So what do you do in a panic attack? Well, breathing. Now, if you're going like this, that's really quite scary for you and for anyone who's with you. What you want to try and do is slow that breathing down. It's not going to do it straight away, but do whatever you can to focus. I find to make it easier to focus, I close my eyes and I count. Count to 4 on the inhale and 8 on the exhale. Okay, do that for a few minutes. That will get your heart rate down. It will bring everything down, because you're focusing on your breath and you're focusing on the numbers. You're not focusing on the feelings or the too much of adrenaline, etc. Another thing to do in a panic attack, it would be to focus on an inanimate object, such as a book or a candle or anything that you can find. I'm going to try and find something now. Okay, so my phone. No, that's not good. Oh look, my makeup, my mirror. So it's pink, it's gold, it's got little gems on it. What else is going on in it? Can you open it up? Just almost dissect every part of the object, the colours, the textures, does it smell? All of that. Focus on that object for 10 minutes. You can pick it up, you can look at it, or you can just put it down and look down at it. I promise you, if you do that for 5 minutes when you're feeling anxious, when you're feeling like you're having a panic attack, incorporating the breathing, just try and slow it down. Anything that will take you out of that thinking mind and get you focusing on the here and now, the real, the mindful. So being mindful can help you in a panic attack by focusing on an object. So I think we've got through. Yes, I think that's everything. So I've talked about what anxiety is. I've talked about why we need to feel anxious. I've talked about the when you have finally developed an anxiety disorder, what the signs and symptoms are. I've also talked about the physical effects of anxiety on the body and panic attacks. I will be doing a separate video on panic attacks at a later date, but for now, thank you for watching. It's been really interesting today, and take care and good luck with your dealing with your anxiety and facing your anxiety, and I will see you next time. Take care now.